Hey y'all, it's your girl Shay here with HPPTreasure Talk, where we are set apart and set aside from the rest. Y'all, I'm so excited. I am here with Miss Stephany Roberts. Miss Lady, how are you doing today?
I am well. I am doing so good. How are you?
Girl, I'm blessed. I'm so too what they say, too blessed to be stressed, honey.
There you go. Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes. So I'm so excited, and I always keep it transparent with the people. So
Yes.
me and Stephany used to be family, like, what was like, it was like 30 years ago, 25,
Yes.
30 years ago?
Yes.
Yes. And so I think my brother married your mom, right? Yeah.
hmm Yeah.
Yes, yes. So y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all now, Stephany could sang when we was kids. For real, yes. And I just wanna say, like, back then, like, I remember, like, because your sister could sing too, but you
Yep.
could blow for show.
Yes.
And, I was little with you, so I didn't know, you would grow up and be big, and you know what I'm saying? But I
Yes.
did know that
Yes.
you did have a calling for singing, though. I 100% knew that even back then.
Oh, thank you. Oh.
Yes. So I know that we want to talk a lot about your music career, your songwriting career, and how
Yes.
that's evolved, and then also how what you're into today and what you're working on today. And so I want to just start out by asking is the question that I've been asking all my interviewees, all my guests, if no, if someone didn't know anything about you, didn't
Yes.
know what you've done or what you've been doing, who would you say Stephany Roberts is?
Well, it's funny you asked that question because I really don't even tell people that I used to be a songwriter, which is really crazy. So when they hear about it, they're like, "You used to what? And do it with who?" So I pretty much tell people, listen, that was a part of my past. It was something that I experienced. I love it, but I am a person who learned from experience. I love music still to this day. I just do Christian music now, but I incorporate everything, like little hints. Like my daycare is named after my songwriter named Symphony, so my daycare is called Symphony's New Beginnings. So I always incorporate something dealing with music in everything that I do. So when people do ask about it, I'm like, oh, I'm just a girl who used to write music, no big deal. But now I'm a daycare owner, so two different worlds.
2 completely different worlds, but that's okay, and that's beautiful because you have all that skill set and a broad range of skills,
Yeah,
so that's amazing within itself.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
So I wanna start out by asking, I wanna start with your music crew. Did you first start out with singing, songwriting? Tell me a little bit more about in the beginning how it all started.
Well, in the beginning, I used to sing, when we were growing up. I don't know, you were younger than me, so you didn't go to a lot of shows that I was doing, but my sister was actually in a girl group out here called In Effect. And
Oh.
I went to one of the practices, and one of the girls that was there, shout out to all the girls in the group, she really wasn't delivering the vocals the way that she needed to. So their manager asked me to sing because my mom was
Ooh.
like, well, my other daughter can sing too. And I'm like the youngest, I'm 14, they're like 17, 18. And I'm like, you want me to sing? And I blew them away. They made me the lead singer.
Shut
Like
up, girl.
the same night, they made me the lead singer and signed paperwork with the management that was out here. We did Drake relay shows. We did a lot of shows locally. I did talent shows in high school. And that's when I just discovered, Mom, I really want to be a singer. I really want to pursue this. So when we moved to Houston, or well, Texas, we were in Arlington first. When we moved to Texas, I was like, let me see what the music scene is down here. Now, Texas is a whole different type of music scene. They have chopped and screwed music where they slow
Right.
down the music that is a popular song. But I was like not into it at first. But then I
Right.
started getting into it. But I could never write a down south record until this um young artist named Big Pokey asked me to sing on one of his records. He was like, well, you're from up north, you got this pop R&B thing going on, sing on one of my little country rap songs. So I did, and I blew them away. And like the management that was there wanted to sign me too. So I started going to the studios and started just doing little stuff around Houston and stuff like that. And then I signed up with ASCAP Publishing. For those who don't know, there's different publishing companies you can sign with: BMI, ASCAP, and I think CSAC is still around. I'm not sure. But I ended up signing with ASCAP, and there was a ASCAP convention in Dallas, like around the corner, and I was like, I gotta go. I gotta go. I'm like 18 at this time. I'm like, I gotta go. I really want to go. So a friend of mine from Houston, we drove to Dallas, and we went to this ASCAP event, and we met my first manager who worked for Rockefeller Records there, and I sang for him in the hall, and he signed me on the spot.
Shut up.
Signed me on the spot, told me, I want you to move to New York, live in one of my places in Brooklyn. You're going to come out and you're going to record, but there's going to be a lot of footwork you're going to do. And I didn't understand what that meant until I got out there. But yeah, I ended up moving to New York when I was 19 by myself. I bought a one-way ticket. I told my mom I wasn't coming back, and I didn't for 9 years.
No, hold on. Okay, let me hold up. Hold on. We got to stop for a second. No, wait a minute. So you met this man and you
Yes.
sang for him one time and he
Yes.
signed you and said, move to New York at
Yep.
19, and you did.
I did. I
Shut
said, Mom,
up.
Mom, listen, let me go out and fill it out, keep my daughter, for a little bit. I'm gonna come back and get her. And I came back and got her. And my mom was like, you really like it? You don't know nobody out there. You don't have family. I'm like, I know people now because they know me. Like, they
Yes.
want me. So I've been going. I was at that time, I'm 19. I'm going to Rockefeller events, meeting,
Wow.
seeing James Z, meeting the whole like Rockefeller team. Like I was around them for years.
Shut up.
I went to the label every day after I got off work because I worked in Manhattan and all the record labels were in Manhattan. So I used to just after work I couldn't wait. I'm like, I'm on the train to 50th Street to go to Rockefeller Records, just hang out in the office with the street team, got to know the A&Rs, got to know like a lot of the people in the office on the who's who. So he was like, well, this is where the hard work starts for you. You need to be in the studio. Don't come up here every day. You need to be in the studio. So
Okay.
try to get. So I was like, man, I'm having fun. I'm putting Jay-Z posters up with everybody. I'm not even getting paid. I just like the experience. I'm like, I'm putting Jay-Z posters up in Manhattan with the street team. And then all of a sudden I just was like, let me get in the studio. Let me do what this man asked if I want to get a deal.
Right.
So we just kept recording and recording and recording, and just come to find out he was an A&R, but he didn't really have the power that he said that he had there. And I just felt like, okay, so when are you gonna get my stuff to Jay-Z? Like, when are you gonna give my stuff to like Dame Dash? Like, they were all in the office every day. And he was like, oh no, you got to keep working, keep working, keep working. I don't really hear a hit yet. I don't hear a hit. And I was like, dang, like I can't keep doing this. But in his mind, because he was a younger man trying to be in management, he was still in party mode. So he was just like, well, let's go party, let's go party, let's go party. And then I also had to learn along the way, celebrities don't like you to talk about business at parties. So don't ever tell anybody you're a singer, you're a songwriter. They don't want to hear it. They're too busy getting high and drunk. They don't want to hear it. Don't bother me right now. I'm partying. So I had to learn that too, because I'd be like, I can sing. They're like, okay, that's cute. Okay, let's have fun. Turn up. But I never was a drinker or a smoker, so I didn't partake in the stuff that they were doing. But I was just kind of like, let me pretend. So, girl, when I tell you, I'm gonna share the secret with you. We used to have like the VIP sections with them $1,000 Cristal bottles.
Yeah.
I used to pour them in my glass just to look like I was having something and dance and spill the drink. Do you know how many people were mad at me?
Dead.
I was like, I don't drink and I'm going home sober because I want to know what's going on around me. I'm in New York by myself. I don't know these people. You're not getting me drunk. So I literally used to dance and
be spilling the drink, girl.
Spilling the drink, dancing on purpose, spilling the
right. Like I'm about to rock this one out.
Right. And they're like, when they finally caught on to what I was doing, some of like my friends, they're like, you really wait. Just say you don't want the drink. I'm like, no, I gotta look like I fit in. I don't even drink like that, but I gotta look like I got a glass of something. They're like, we see you dropping the drink though. Like, I'm like, okay, well maybe I should stop taking it because it's $500, $1,000 bottles, and I'm wasting it. Literally wasting it.
So hold on. So I'm a girl. I got so many questions. So back it up. So okay. So after you meet the gentleman, he tells you he's gonna sign you. He's gonna sign you. Have you moved to New York?
Yes.
Then y'all working, or you kind of partying, he kind of partying, but then you kind of find out that he really ain't. You're not really signed then.
No, I'm signed to him, but he's not really the man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah. He
You
made it seem like he
find
was
out
way
real
bigger.
quick. Yeah, you find out real quick who is who when you
Right.
hang out at the label. And that's what I did. And that's why I did what I did, because I'm like, I really want to know if he holds the power. You got me on a contract, but you really can't get me a deal. Like
Right.
you're not the man.
Right.
So
Right.
we went through arguments, and I literally became homeless. He kicked me out the place that I was in Brooklyn because I didn't want to be his artist anymore. I was like, I've recorded 20 songs. I'm not, you're not even pushing my stuff. You're not even getting me where I need to be. At this point, Murder Inc. had just opened next door to Rockefeller. That's how
Oh
I
wow.
ended up with the connections with Murder Inc. So I was like, skip you. I'm going to go find my own stuff, whatever,
Right.
whatever. So I met a couple other people in Queens, because at this point, when he kicked me out of Brooklyn, I'm in Queens, in Jackson Heights, with this Colombian girl I was working with. She was like, come live with me. I'm like,
Well,
okay.
okay. Wait, Steph, hold on. We gotta, because I'm trying to, and I want the people to understand too this process, because I see how you can get finessed really easy. You know what I'm
You
saying?
can't,
Yes.
you
So
can't,
let
you,
me
you got
ask
to do
you.
research.
Yeah. So let me also. Okay. So when you say he had you on contract, so was
Hmm.
a contract like you could live at his place? Was that included in the contract? What was the
Hmm.
contract about?
The contract said that I can live in his place for free. I didn't have to do anything as long as I was in the studio. Because what happens is, when someone thinks that they're investing, or if they found a good investment, they'll let you live off of them because they want to get a deal off of you. So at that time, in the early 2000s, they were still giving people a $500,000 to $1 million deals. So he probably felt like, well, I'll get my money on the back end if this chick gets a deal. She's really dope. She's cute, got a good look, good voice. But he wasn't bringing me the right music for me to write to. I'm like, these are whack. Like, some of the producers he was getting, like, backdoor down the street, Brooklyn people
Right.
that were just like, yo, get me on. So we were all trying to get on, but they weren't fire tracks to me. So
Right.
then I linked up with this other producer. He was dope. We started making good records, but by then he wasn't pushing my album. A lot of the people that work at the labels, they get to get in all the industry parties free. They get to have all the perks that any of the celebrities get. They're just behind the scenes. So I think they get so caught up in,
Mhm.
oh, I'm going to this party this weekend because everybody's gonna be there, or, oh, I'm gonna prove to Jay or somebody that I can find talent so he can promote me within the record label. And it just didn't work out like that for him. He ended up
Right.
getting
Right.
fired.
Oh, shut up.
He got
Wait a
fired.
minute. Okay. So okay. So then he kicks you out. You're
Hmm.
homeless. Okay, and then go from there.
And then I was working with this young lady who was like, come live with me. She really liked me. And I went to go stay with her and her family. That was a whole different experience in itself, because I never lived with Colombian people
Oh
before.
wow.
But my pride was too high to call my mom and be like, yo, I'm literally homeless in New York. Thank God she still had my daughter at that time. And I was like, let me just fill it out. I'm grown. If I got to go through this, I'm going to have to go through it. At this point, I'm
Right.
20. So I'm like, I'm grown. I don't need to ask my mom to help me out. So I figured it out. I went to go live with this girl. And then I just started meeting all these people in Queens, because Jackson Heights is near Queens. And then I started meeting producers that did stuff with, like, Mary J. Blige. Like, I don't know. I just was always at the right place at the right time, and I was meeting people, and I always talked. So
Mhm.
this producer ended up letting me come to his house in Queens, and we used to record in the basement, and we used to do stuff. That's when I got my first placement with Little Zane. Like,
Okay.
I don't know if people remember who Little Zane is,
Yes.
but I wrote a record for his album, and he was at the time doing the movie with Beyonce. So I thought he was gonna be a big deal. Like, he's a big deal, but we thought he was gonna blow bigger, and his label
Right.
gave him some money. And then this is where I'm gonna learn, you people, what work for hire means.
Okay.
So we go to the studio. There's these things called split sheets that you're supposed to bring with you when you go to the studio. Meaning, if I write a record, 100% of it does belong to me, but because you're the producer, or you may give me the opportunity, I have to split some of my writing with you. So
Some of not the money, some of your writing.
some of my writing, because we get publishing. Publishing is
Okay.
After the song comes out, if it plays on the radio, you get royalties. If it sells in the store, you get royalties. So anything attached to you, you get that percentage of that song,
Okay.
which is like, it's not good when you do work for hire because you don't get any royalties. You don't get anything.
Okay.
So I write the song, the guy gets the check, doesn't pay me. Like, I'm a songwriter at this point. I want to be paid. Doesn't pay me. So I canned the whole song, and Little Zane literally physically called me like, I need this song. I love your melody. I promise we won't steal it no more. I promise, like, please let the record go through. And I was like, then pay me. Like, I just did not play with it. After a while, I started catching on. Oh,
Right.
I gotta be y'all in order to get respect because I'm a lady and y'all think y'all can run over me. And they
Yeah.
will use vocalists like that to sing backgrounds, to come up with melodies and never give them nothing. But no, I'm from the Midwest. Pay me.
Okay.
So I don't know what y'all thought. Y'all New York, but Midwest is a different type of.
Let's go,
you,
Midwest.
you know what I'm saying? I wasn't scared of anybody out there, but I also didn't try to come disrespectful. It was just the truth. Like, can
Right.
you pay me? So they paid me, but they were like, I was like, okay, and they were like, your name's on the credit, but you don't get any royalties. And I'm like, why? They were like, you signed to work for hire. I was like, well, what does that mean? They're like, you worked, you got hired for a job, it's over. You did what you did, you don't get no royalties. So I never signed a work for hire sheet after that.
And so when you say royalties, you're saying so as the song sells, you would normally get like a piece of that, but
Yes,
since you didn't, you just get like a flat fee, and that's it, and then you're
that's
done.
it. And then
And
I'm
they
done.
can still keep making money, money, money off your song, and you're just done.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's school people today. Yes, okay, that makes sense. No,
And
for
then
real
not only
though.
that, but they feel like your name's on the album, so you'll get credit and people can see that your name. I don't care. My name's there. If
And
you
neither
sell a
does nobody. Ain't nobody looking for that.
right,
Yeah.
I'm like, if you sell 500,000 copies, that's like for me as a writer on that particular song. Even if I got 20%, that would have been 50 grand. I got a kid to take care of.
Okay,
So
that
I
part.
learned from there, never do another work for hire. And I also learned I'm not putting any of my vocals or making any melodies till our split sheet is done right in the beginning of our session, which means
Right.
we have an understanding. If I write this song fully, what percentage do you want as a producer, or because you know the artist, what percentage of my writing do you want? And we talk about it right up there, which I usually did 50-50. I'd give them 50% of my writing because I wouldn't, I want to get on. Like,
Right.
50% of something is better than 100% of nothing.
Come on now.
So that's how that transpired. And then that same producer I did the Little Zane thing with, on my 25th birthday, I kid you not, I had people from Iowa, Texas, they flew in. We're on our way to dinner, and he calls me like, I need you right now. Ashanti's sick. I need you to come and sing this song on this hook for Ja Rule. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, come now. So I'm like, I'm getting ready for my birthday dinner. All my friends were like, girl, we skip that dinner. Let's go to Murder Inc. Let's go to Murder Inc. So I bring all my girls up there. They all meet Ja Rule. I meet them. Literally, it took me 20 minutes. I recorded the song, and then it went gold. Like the whole,
Oh,
it was crazy. It was crazy how it happened, and that's how I know it was ordained. But remember, that same producer was the one who screwed me over with the Little Zane. So I made sure we did our paperwork before I left. And that was like the last time I worked with him because I just was like, I can't work with a snake. You snaked me once. I came back to help you because I didn't want you to be embarrassed in front of everything that you have a singer and you don't. And I happened to be in Manhattan at the same time he's recording it. And then that's when I ended up, being done with that situation.
right, right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's and so what song was that? What song I see the gold record in the background. I know that the
It's
people
it's
see it.
called What's My Name. It's called What's My
Okay.
Name.
And
Yeah.
is Ja Rule and who else is on? Is you're on the track and
I'm
Ja
on the
Rule?
track. There's another girl on the track, and I think Ashanti went over my leads like a week or two later, but you could clearly hear my voice. But
Right,
she
right.
went over it, or whatever was going on with Murder Inc. at that time. She wasn't there the day.
Okay.
Yeah,
So then going after that, move forward a little bit. What did your career look like after that? Was it up? Was it down?
it was. I got offers. I'm not gonna lie. I did get offers, but they weren't what I was looking for. Because I had been in a girl group out here, I didn't want to be in another girl group. And they kept trying to put me in a girl group because I'm 4'11". At the time, soaking wet, I was 100 pounds. So that's when like Destiny's Child and all these other voluptuous young girls were out. I just wasn't that. I'm that now, but I wasn't
Okay,
that.
cool.
I wasn't that then. And they were just like, "You're too little. You look like a little kid. We want
Oh,
sex appeal right now, and you're not. You don't even have long legs." I'm like, "I'm 4'11". Not my grandmama and them.
right.
But it was like they kept trying to put me in girl groups. Arista Records, they tried to put me in a girl group, and they flew two girls out from California. They were 18 at this time. I'm 25. I'm 20. But I look like I'm 17, and they're trying to put me with these little girls. These girls are arguing with their boyfriends every day, and I'm the one recording because I have the voice. They have the look. I'm like, hell no! I'm not
Right.
gonna keep recording, and then they're gonna get credit just being the doo-wop
Yeah.
girls in the back of me, and they're just fighting and arguing with their boyfriends. I can't be with young girls.
Right.
So then, moving forward, I don't know how I got the internship at Sony, but a friend of mine was like, "Hey, they need people at Sony. Can you go intern?" I'm like, "While I'm working, like I gotta work tomorrow." They were like, "No, you need to go up there. This might be an opportunity for you to meet people." So I went to Sony to intern for Dave McPherson for a couple of days. When I tell you I am not a runner, they had me running to Bad Boy to get tickets because he had to go to a party. Had me get the staff's lunch. Had me like interning at a record label. You really the runner. You're
Oh,
not.
right.
So I'm like, dang. And then I found out from one of the other girls that was interning up there. She was like, don't tell nobody you sing because they don't really want people up here working that also want to say that they want to get on. They really need people to work. I said, well, then I ain't coming back because I want to be an artist. I'm not a
Right.
go get it girl. I literally was there 2 days and the guy was like, yo, you're doing really good. We want you to stay with Sony. I'm like, if I can't tell y'all I sing, I don't want to stay because I was told
Right.
I can't tell you guys that I'm an artist because it looks like I'm only interning here so I can get a record deal. So that's
Wow.
when one of the guys that was up there was like, well, then if you're a singer, we can put you in 3LW. This was at the time they had kicked Notori out. And I was
Oh,
like, I don't want to be in 3LW because they had already established their name. And I've seen what happens when they try to replace girls in
yep.
groups.
Yep.
So I didn't take that deal. I said,
Wow.
no, I know I'm as small as them. We're all 4'11, but they were younger than me too. But I'm glad I didn't sign that because what happens is, let's say I would have agreed to be the replacement for Notori or whatever, and I signed it. Now I'm in contract. 3LW, the two main ones went on to do the Cheetah Girls. I would have still
Oh,
been stuck in a contract with whoever label they were with, and I couldn't move anywhere or go anywhere until my contract was over, which is usually 3 albums, 4 albums. That's a
oh,
10-year
wow.
span. So I'm
Wow.
glad I didn't go further with it. Like when I was joking with the person talking to me about it in the office, I'm glad I didn't go with it because I would have been stuck in a contract and they would have got rich off the Cheetah Girls and they weren't taking anybody with them that wasn't already in the group. So,
Right.
and I
Exactly.
think they eventually did, replace her with someone else, but that person, you never seen them or they never even heard of her again. So that was like the second opportunity that I passed up. And then there was a girl group called The Rain,
Hmm.
a, an artist named Yummy Bingham, and I worked with her dad, Dink. He was like a really big producer. He was just known in the industry for doing stuff, and I kind of had the same tone as her, and I worked with him more than her. So he was just like, "Well, my daughter's in a girl group right now called The Rain. Do you want to be the Spinderella of the girl group, where you is an R&B version of Salt and Pepper, where you're
Hmm.
the one that's doing the turntables in the back, but you're never really saying anything, but you can also sing." I said, "No, I don't want to do
I was
that. Like, why would I want to?
right.
Spinderella don't sing. She don't rap. She don't get. I mean, she'll get to rap now, but she didn't get the respect that the others
Yep.
got. So when you're 25, 24, thinking that these people are just trying to push you to be the back, but you want to be the front, you're like, nope, nope,
Right.
no. So it was a difficult time for me in New York. And then I was just like, you know what? The hustle and bustle of trying to go to this studio one day and recording until 4 o'clock in the morning, and then it's not getting sold, or someone's stealing your idea, or now people are making money, but you sang that song. And I'm like, I don't know if this is me. I don't know.
Right.
then that's when the Chris Brown opportunity came.
Well,
And
I want to say, let me say real quick before you get into that, because I'm all for that. I'm all for everything we talking about, but I'm really for
yes,
that one. But I want to say big ups to you though, Stephany, because as young as you was, you still you still held your own, honey.
yeah,
And you said no, I'm not finna do that, because you know how many women in your position just to get on,
yeah,
me included, because I've done a lot of things just to get on. You understand what I'm
yeah,
saying? And so
yeah,
for you to be able to be like, I don't care what you talking about. I'm not your Spinderella. I'm not your runner. I'm not your big ups
yes.
to you. Big ups
I
to
was
you for
I
real.
was like that because I was just like, man, I'm at this time Ashanti had came out and other solo artists, and I'm like, we're this about the same age. Like, I want to be that.
Right.
Don't put me in no girl group. I don't want to deal with issues, and I see how many girl groups were fighting and arguing. I don't want no parts of that.
Yeah.
So
Good for
yeah,
you.
I was young, but I definitely was standing on business. And if you didn't have a check for me, don't check for me.
Come
Period.
on now. Yes. Okay.
I'm
Let's hashtag that.
serious.
Okay.
I had, I was a mom. My daughter had came to New York at that time, and I had bills for real. So moving forward, I ended up meeting this guy at Sugar Hill Studios. It's where the Sugar Hill Gang recorded their music at in New Jersey, and it was
Okay.
just the artifacts and just the history there. It just made me feel good stepping into that studio because I'm like, yo, this is really where the Sugar Hill Gang, did hip
Yeah.
hop, did hip it. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm here. Every opportunity I got was a blessing to me because people really were trying to put me on. So I get there and I meet this guy who ends up becoming my music manager. And along the way, I ended up working with Olivia before she got signed by 50 Cent. I ended up working with this young lady from New Orleans when Katrina happened. Her name was Tamika. She came to New York because they had moved a lot of people from Louisiana to New York. And they were like, oh, I want you to write with me because I'm signed with Master P and he has me writing for people. And Olivia was one of them. So I worked with her. And that's where I met this guy named Chad Elliott. And Chad, Elliott is a big time name. If you Google him, he's done stuff for Bad Boy, just Biggie, Destiny's Child. He was that guy. And so I'm in his house recording with Olivia. And then next thing you know, he's like, hey, there's a new kid coming out from Virginia. He's 16. Can you write for a guy? And I'm like, well, I've never wrote for a guy, but I'm pretty sure I can. So he gives me this track to go home and study with. I'm writing a song, come up with a song called Gangsta Boo. And then I give it back to him. I record it, I reference it, and he's like, oh, I like this. Let's see if he'll do it. But I'm like, he's 16. I don't know if he knows anything about a Gangsta Boo. But anyways, moving forward, we go to the studio and he's there. And I'm just like, to me, it's another artist because Run It hadn't even came out yet. So
Okay.
I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, he's cute. He's 16. He's a young guy. And you like the song? He was like, yeah, I really like this song. This is pretty cool. And I was like, okay, well, let's go ahead and get it started. So I literally watched him record the whole song. And then he left my vocals on it because we were supposed to get another female. There's a female part and we were supposed to get a female artist to be on it, but they just used my reference. In the meantime, that's why when you go on YouTube, I'm singing with Chris.
Oh.
They never found another girl because I'm gonna move forward. I'm gonna tell you what happened after this. So then he didn't finish it the first day. We had to come back the second day, and this is when we were watching 106 in Park, and Rihanna was on there, and he called it. He was like, "That's gonna be my girlfriend." I'm like,
Shut up, girl.
he called it. I promise you.
Wow.
So me and the producer were like, "Oh, you like Rihanna, right? She's a big dog. Like, upon the replay had just came out. Like, she's that girl." He was like, "I don't care. We're the same age. She is gorgeous. She gonna be my girlfriend. I'm gonna make sure." I'm like, "Oh my God." And when they actually got together, me and the producer called each other and we're cracking up. We're like, that little boy, he said he was gonna get with her, and he really did. Well, anyways, we get back the next day and he had to fly out. So he was like, I can't finish the song. I'm like, why? He was like, oh, they have another session booked for me out of town. So I can try to start a new song. So we started working on a new song. And I was like, no, but I really want you to finish Gangsta Boo or whatever. And he's like, I can't, I gotta go. He leaves, never see him again. And well, I seen him again, but didn't
Right.
see him again for his album. I'm waiting and waiting for the call for the producer to call me like, did we get on his first album? Because Run It had came out and Run It went up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I work with this kid, Chris Brown. I'm bragging to people. That's another thing. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Right.
But I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be on his album and blah 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 blah. Next thing you know, somebody sends me a YouTube link with the song that's leaked, which is my song.
Shut up.
Now, let me school you on this. When someone leaks a song, if a producer gets too excited or that producer finds out that they didn't make the album, they still want people to hear their music and still hear that their song was big. They'll leak it anyways. They don't care if it made it.
Wow.
But that's whack to me, and until this day it irritated me that it got leaked. Because if it didn't make the album, don't leak it. Like,
Exactly.
nobody never needs to hear the song because at this point it's not mixed, it's not mastered, it's not even all the he didn't even finish recording it. But when I tell you the song has almost 1 million views on
Shut up.
YouTube, like people actually like it. They
Right.
identify, like they really like it. And I've seen even on TikTok, some people have made videos to it. And I never really just be like, yo, I wrote Gangsta Boo, like, cause it didn't make it. So
Right.
it didn't make me no money. So why do I
Right.
need to tell people I did it? This is like really the first time in the first platform I'm really saying that I worked with him, because if something doesn't make somebody's album, you don't get anything.
Exactly.
You don't get your time back. You don't get no money for nothing that you did. That was called an investment, and your investment went wrong. So,
Right.
but I got that experience and I got cool with him because moving forward, I ended up having to chaperone this kid that was working for a magazine that had to actually interview him. So I always ran into Chris. And then when he did My Super Sweet 18 for MTV, they invited me there. I got kind of cool with his bodyguards and got cool with his people. They invited me. So I seen him there when he got gifted the Lamborghini. He came and gave me a hug. So in that little period of time, we got to know each other, and I told him I'm proud of him. I was like, I didn't make your album, but I'm really proud of where where
Yeah.
your success has taken you. You're a young man. The sky is the limit. And then I had never seen him since then. But
Wow.
yeah, it was a good experience, though. I can tell you that.
So, and are you? And I know I keep hearing the term ghostwriter, but that pretty much refers to someone who's written another person's music, but they don't get the credit. Tell me more about that.
Correct.
I'm not familiar. Okay.
Yes, a ghostwriter is somebody that gets no credit, and that was
Okay.
never me. I
Okay.
would never.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
You see that name, my name
Yes.
on. Listen, there's a lot of talented people that just want a little check and just want a little. They want to hang with people. I don't want to hang with you. I have a kid to feed. I don't care. I want my name on that credit because you didn't come up with that. So I never
Exactly.
wanted to be a ghostwriter, but there's a lot. There's a lot in the industry, and I respect them if they don't want people to know who they are. Some people like to live a low profile life. Some people don't care about royalties. I did because I seen people get $500,000 checks in the mail, $600,000 writing checks. And I really wanted that to be my story. But because I know God had a different purpose for me, it ended up not being my story. God had me go through what I went through so I could tell someone else.
Come on
But
now.
it wasn't for me to go to the next level. It was
Right.
for me to go through what I went through in that period of time. So moving forward, when my grandpa got sick and he ended up passing away, that's how I even ended back in Iowa. And there were people here that knew what I did, and people were trying to bring me demos. They were trying to give me their CDs, trying to help me get them on. But I was like, I don't do that kind of music no more. Like, I literally didn't want no parts of the industry because there's parts I'm leaving out. But I just didn't. I don't want to have to struggle going to the studio every day. Nobody's paying for your tolls. Nobody's paying for your gas. Nobody's paying for your nothing. They don't care. They just want your talent. And
Right.
then if you can't give them your talent, you're useless to them. Like, come on. I know business is business, but
I'm still
like,
human. Like.
I'm still human. If there's no friends, you're not friends.
Yep.
You're not friends unless you're making money together. Then you're
Right.
friends. But
Right.
once you decline certain things or say no, I'm not doing that, they move on to the next person that will. And
Right.
I'm
Right.
not mad at that, but it was not my thing.
Right. You just wasn't with that. I know
I
that's
wasn't
right.
with I wasn't
Well,
with it.
Well, and I think it sounds like to me that there's a lack of respect in that, right? Like like I said, I'm a human first. Like,
Yep,
yeah, I
yep,
have talent, I have all this, but I'm a woman, I'm a female, I have a name. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And so there's like a lack of respect in that, sounds like.
There is. There's a lot of lack of respect for females in the industry, and I mean, there's women that are willing to do anything to get on, and that's what makes me sad because even just my family, they'll be like, "Yo, put me on, put me on." I'm like, "No," because
Right.
your blood is not going to be on my hands because I helped you be a slut or helped you be, you know, a little demon seed trying to make it to the top, and you don't know what comes with that price. I'm
Right.
not going to be responsible for that. So if you want to do Christian music or you want to get in the
Okay.
studio with me and sing about God, then yeah, but that's not my thing no more.
Right.
And no, not knocking anybody that it is their thing, but they'll eventually see why they should not be in that industry.
Yeah. And as of course everybody didn't seen the R. Kelly thing and knows all about that, and you can kind of see, where that has went, and other people's stories are coming out, and there's so many unspoken stories, which is super, super unfortunate.
Hmm.
Did you experience any of that when you was in the industry?
No. Fortunate for me, I was a writer too, not just trying to be an artist. I see
Right.
more artists go through that because the artists need songs. So the songwriter
Right.
is a commodity to the studio. Like
Okay.
they leave the writer alone because we need a hit. But they'll mess with the person that's trying to be the artist and they'll do stuff with that. But for the most part, producers get left alone, songwriters will get left alone some. But
Right.
I set the tone before
Mhm.
I even got there. Like, I'm not the one, the two, or the three, or you're not getting a record. And that's just, and once you do that, and then I just thank God he had me around the right producers and the right
Right.
people that never needed to do that with me
Right.
because we were all hungry and we were all trying to make it. And the big producers, they were already had their little groupies already established. So by the time they got with me, it was like, oh, she, and then I thank God. I'm telling you, I thank God I look like a little girl. Don't want
Right.
me.
Right.
Shoot,
Right.
I ain't got
Right.
nothing for you. I'm glad I look like I'm 50
Right.
and I'm 25. You know, I don't want you don't want me because some of the girls that was in that studio, they was thick, long legs. Like that ain't me. Leave me
Right.
alone. I'm a
Right.
baby. I'm a baby. Leave me alone. So it was just not my story. I'm glad it
No, and
was.
that's amazing, and I think too now, and like I said, I'm just thinking this because of course I'm not in the industry, but it seems like now the industry is so saturated with so many artists, and everybody's either making beats or everybody can sing, rap, or you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so
Yeah.
I think now more people are probably willing to do more to get
Yeah.
on. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so hard. I mean, I know it was hard back when you was in the 2000s, but now you can go viral off TikTok or whatever, but it's still hard. It's
It's
still hard to
so hard.
actually make it,
It is.
and so there's girls that will bend over backwards and bend over all type of ways to do
To
and to
do.
get their name out there, and it's actually really, really sad.
Yeah, and you know, it's so different now. Like you're not even getting a deal anymore. You're not even getting half a million or $1 million deals anymore. You're getting single deals. If your song
Mm,
is hot on TikTok, it blows up, you're getting a single deal, which means if you do an album, it has to come out of your pocket. Like the labels
mm,
aren't paying you anymore. They want to see how far you'll go by yourself. Like that's
right.
why a lot of people are building studios in their house because people used to record at studios like Sony. They had big, there was a lot of people that would use the big studios, but then they would charge you like 2,000 an hour. Nobody was doing
Mm,
it, so people started figuring out, okay, I can do an album in a booth in my closet in my house, so
yep.
it's still gonna come out fire. You know,
Yep.
like people forget Solange did her whole album in Louisiana in a house, and it
Mm,
came out fire. Like you don't need a big studio to execute your vision anymore. So they're not giving that kind of money out anymore. And
well,
on
and I
truth be told, a lot of artists aren't rich. They
oh
look rich,
yeah, yeah, definitely
but
that.
they're
I was talking to when I had 1K Few on the show, and we were talking about going independent, how everybody's talking about going independent, and they don't want to
Mhm.
get, everybody's not really trying to get on record labels and get deals, because you, just like you said, you can go and get you a few little equipment, get on Garage Band or something, and
Yeah.
make you some tracks, and you'll go big, and then
Yep.
that way you get all that money back or whatever,
Mhm.
and so I know it's, you have to pay out a lot, but if it blows, you get a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, so if you're a musician, TuneCore is what I use. I had some of my Christian songs on on iTunes, but I took them down because I'm revamping my sound.
Okay.
So TuneCore, if you are an artist and you want to get your music out, start a TuneCore account. Once you do your single, you can upload it and they'll give you 99 cents and then they take like 30 cents. So you'll make 69 cents every copy that sells. So
Hmm.
that's something that you can do. I had my songs through TuneCore. That's a good platform. So you could do whatever you want to do, but at least I gave you the name of the platform you can go to upload your song.
That's awesome. So okay, so then after all of that, you decided, what was the last straw for you? That you said, I'm done. Well, I know you said your grandfather passed. Was that the
Yeah.
catalyst, or was there something else that was like you
It was
actually
that.
knew?
It was that, but I just management wasn't really doing their job. I got tired of going from manager to manager, and then they want to tell me, "Oh, you can't move on because you're still in tie with me, and then whatever you do, I still get a percentage of. So it don't matter if you got a new manager because I'm still gonna make a cut off of yours." I'm like, that's grimy though. Like you didn't do what you were supposed to do. So make sure you're reading your contracts. If you do get a contract, so if somebody has you in a 5-year deal, and let's say you want to make sure that within the first year, if they can't get you nothing, you can just sever your ties. But a lot of them won't have that. A lot of them will say, well, if I can't get you somewhere, you're still in contract with me, but you can move on with somebody else. But they're not going to tell you that when you're with this person, they get 20% and I still get my 20% because I discovered you.
Mm,
Nobody got time for that.
right.
So that was irritating me. And then just me realizing I had to invest a lot myself. My a manager will tell you, I'm not your investor. I'm just going to help you get the deal. But you got to come out of pocket for photo shoots. You got to come out of pocket for studio time.
Um,
You got to come out of pocket for tracks. Because at that point, producers were like, well, I don't want you to just write a song. I want you to buy my track because if it doesn't sell, then you can at least use it for a project you're using. I'm not buying
mm,
no tracks.
right, right.
Like
Like, what's happening?
we don't work together before. I'm not buying your songs.
Right,
You sell your tracks for $10,000. Who got that? Like
right.
it got deep. Like everybody was getting hungry. Like
Mm,
producers weren't getting 50,000, 100,000 a track no more. They were getting 5,000, 10,000, and I just was like, yeah, no, I ain't getting no money from me because you haven't even sold a song yet. So why am I paying
right.
you as a songwriter to sell a song?
Yeah.
And then everybody, okay, like you get a list. If your manager has this list, you know who's working on their album. They'll be like, oh, Mary J. Blige is working on an album, or whoever is out, Ashanti, they're working on their albums. So now they want you to go in the studio and write songs to what they would sing, but
Oh.
they're doing this to like 20 other writers. So 20 other writers are in the studio because they're trying to get on a Rihanna album, or they're trying to get on a Brandy album, or they're trying, not realizing these people already have their set writers.
Oh, wow.
So you're in the studio for nothing. Unless you just
Right.
come out with a super banger, you're literally one in a million to get on a Rihanna project because a lot of her people are already in her camp.
Right,
So
right,
it's like you want me to spend 4 to 5 hours writing a song for somebody who may or may not even hear this.
right,
I couldn't do it anymore. I had a kid. My daughter was getting older. At this point, she's 10, and I'm not seeing any life changing goals happening.
right,
Thank you for the experience, but I don't care to party with this person, I don't care. Oh, you was with, I don't care. They got the money. I don't.
right.
I live right around the corner from Swiss Beats when he was married to his first wife. That
Oh,
he's
really?
in a mansion. I'm not. I'm in an
Okay.
apartment down the street.
Right.
Like
Well,
I was in the area where all the people were living. They're getting rich. I'm not.
it seems like it's all smoke and mirrors. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
just all a facade. So it's just all this show, and then, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, you're one in a million if you make it. If you do, good for you. If you don't, it is what it is. You
It is.
tried. And it's like,
Yeah, and I love the experience. I love the relationships that I built. I'm still friends with a lot of producers. I met a lot of celebrity friends that I'm still cool with to this day. Like, I get invited to things. I'll fly out and go hang out. And it's like I wouldn't say I live two different lifestyles, but I still have that kind of celebrity lifestyle. But then when I come home, I'm daycare provider. I don't really talk about that with my parents. Like some of my parents still don't even know I was a songwriter because I separate the two. Because if
Right.
it's something I used to do, I don't really need to say it anymore. But I have a boutique now. My husband and I were growing our ministry. So he's an ordained minister. He can marry people. Like I'm moving into a different path. And I love to tell people my experience because not saying that you'll go through what I go through, but it's to me, it's not worth it.
Right.
It's
Well,
not.
and it sounds like a cautionary tale too. Like you said, you might not go through it, but all that is, I mean, I'm not even in that type of industry, but I'm just like, okay, that because it sounds
Yeah,
like some of the stuff, like just even for me trying to get interviews from people, there's been a few little shady little, I'm like, oh, okay, I see where you come. You know what I mean? Like, and the same
yeah,
stuff you're talking about, like royalties, me doing voice acting. I've had little stuff come, with that where I'm like, okay, let me, I
yeah.
might have to be a gorilla out here. I'm a Christian, but you better understand my resume now.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like it's nothing. I can literally go back to New York and go back into it because people still need writers, but I don't write that kind of. I don't write secular music anymore, and I just kind of like don't even understand the music these days. To
Girl.
be honest with you, I wouldn't
Girl.
even know where to write a daggone song for nobody right now. It wouldn't. The music is totally different than what it was then, and even that's why Ashanti's able to, you know, do her songs 20 years later because she has classic hits. These songs today, they're not
It's
classic.
different.
I don't know if I'm gonna be listening to them 20 years from now,
Yep.
but who knows? This generation might be like, "Oh, that was this song that was popular in my time." I don't know, but I just don't. I couldn't write nothing anyways for anybody. I'd be all over the place in the studio. I wouldn't be able to.
Well, and that's what I wanna do too now is because, everybody has a past, everybody has a story,
Yeah.
and, my story is I've had a crazy, super colorful past, and felt a calling on my life to change my life. I no longer, I don't write no music, but I do not listen to secular music anymore. I ain't listened to secular music, in about over 10 years now, unless I hear something on the radio that just happens, you know what I mean? But other than that, like, my playlist right now, it's all gospel or, gospel rap, one of the 2.
Yeah.
So I wanna talk about your switch because like you said, 2 different worlds. What was the catalyst and what was your calling that you knew like, "Hey, I'm going all the way to glory." What's Tell me more about that.
Okay, so one day I was in my apartment in New York and I said, "God, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired. It's been 9 years around snakes. People
Mm,
use you for your vocals, use you for your writing." He said, "You're going to do music. You're just not going to do that kind of music." And
amen.
I said, "Okay." And I still had pictured me writing Christian music. I seen me performing and I have performed at churches, and that's what God was talking about. He said, "I'm not going to let you go over here because this ain't your calling. I had to bring you here to show you that this is not where you want to
Yep.
be because like I was friends with a lot of people and I seen, artists pass away that I knew personally and their stories didn't add up on why they passed away, and I
Mm,
just like God was like, I don't want you to go through that. I don't want you to be that because you're mine. And that's why I decided
amen.
I wasn't gonna write secular music. And it was so funny. Like, I don't know if this happened to you when you started getting closer to God. It's like everything that you were doing multiplies times 10 and gets in your face. The temptations to come back. Like, where was this when I was in it? Now that I'm
Exactly.
out, now y'all want to call me and come do a
Yep.
song for this person. Now y'all want no. And that was a
Yep.
test to me to be like, are you gonna do it because now it's this person, or are you gonna do it because this producer's asking you to do it? And I'm like, where was y'all 5 years? No.
Yep.
And I had to stand my ground because God was like, if you do it, you're going to regret it. And I told you
Yep.
I'm pulling you from this. Don't go back.
Yeah.
Don't go back. And I'm like, but it's
I
such
know.
and such. But it's this is what I've been waiting for. He said, don't go back.
You like,
And
are you sure, God? Are you sure?
right. I'm like, are you sure this isn't you giving me the opportunity
Right.
now? And he's like, no, I promise you it's not me. I promise you, because now you're struggling to pay your
Right.
bills. Now you're struggling to live and survive. But before you weren't, because you were doing things you ain't had no business doing. And people don't understand the devil bless you too. So
Exactly. Come on now.
so at the end of the day, it's like once I started going towards God and then I knew like it wasn't for me anymore, he made it difficult for me to even live in New York. Like
Mm.
it was hard. And I was just like, hold on, I was just making 4 grand, 5 grand here, 4,000 there. Nah. And then
Yeah.
that's when I made the decision it was time to leave New York. And I was like, I
Right.
gotta go. God's calling me to do something different. And then when I got back home, and my sister was like, why don't you do daycare so you could, live a low profile life because people do know that you've done stuff here and you don't want to get a job. People mess with you about trying to get them on. And I was like, daycare? You like, girl, my daughter's 12. I'm still raising a kid. She was like, no, I'm serious. Like, this is a low profile life. And if you do get called to go to studios, if you're going to do your Christian music, you can leave whenever you want and just, hire people to work for you. And you don't have to be stuck in a job. And I was like, okay, makes sense. And then I did that and it just started booming for me. And I was like, oh, so this is my calling, God. Like,
Well,
this is
look,
what you wanted me to do. Cause let me tell you, out the gate, my first year, I'm making 6 figures with daycare,
girl.
and I'm like, okay, God, I'm listening. And I had no idea that was going to be my path. No idea
Right.
that was going to be my path. But my mom did daycare, my sister did daycare, and I was just like, okay, y'all have that. That's y'all.
Right.
But he put it on my heart because he's like, you're a loving person. You love your kid. You love children. They need good people in their life. And because it's so weird, I say this because it's so weird. Whenever I'm doing stuff with the kids, I think about the music industry, and I always pray over my daycare kids, like, please, Lord, I don't care what they become, don't let them go to the music industry.
Oh, do
Like, Lord,
you?
I don't care what they do, I know what's gonna happen. Like, put these babies on the right path, make them
Yeah.
smart, make them beautiful humans, don't make them chase money, don't make them like,
Right.
I just know that my calling is to be a giver and care for people, and that's when when you're in the right place.
No, yes. Wait a minute. So let me talk to you about the daycare thing. So yes, as you said, you're 6 figures for first, and I didn't know either that you can make some pocket change doing
Yeah,
daycare. First off,
yeah.
but you got to be a good provider. Because let me tell you. So I think I seen, and this was years ago, Steph. How long you been doing daycare for?
17 years
Oh
since
my
I
gosh.
since I moved back here.
Okay, okay. So I don't know. So and I was gonna say like 10 years ago, but I was like, maybe she ain't been doing it that long. That's why I asked. But I want to say maybe, and probably even longer actually. I don't know how long it was, but it was a long time ago. And I think I seen on Facebook, and you had posted a picture of your daycare. Girl, it was so beautiful. You hear me? And
Thank
I was
you.
like, I want to go to that daycare. I've never seen a daycare. I'm talking about for real, Steph. Like it was. I had never seen a daycare. Not even like no like public daycare. It was beautiful. And I was just
Yeah,
like, okay. So God bless you for that because there's some providers that just try to do it for the check and just try to do it, you know what I mean? And I've experienced
yeah,
that with my kids. I've had nannies and different providers that I'm like, okay, you about to make me lose my religion now. But
yeah,
I could tell just from that one picture. I know nothing about your daycare from that one picture. And they say a picture says 1,000 words. And I promise you, honey, it said that you was one of the best daycare providers because the way
oh,
it was set up. I
yeah.
wanted to go there as an adult.
I'm telling you, I always put myself in the mind frame of a person. If I was a child, where would I want to go? You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And I've seen other in homes, and I'm not knocking them, but it's like I wouldn't want to come there if I was a kid. And this is the key to success. You have to make sure that you first of all you have to love what you do,
Hmm.
and you have to make sure that whenever you do it, be as professional as you can.
Yes.
That means I don't care if I was in a 1 bedroom apartment. There's going to be some nice cots. There's going to be a nice little chalkboard. There's going to be something that
Yep.
resembles something that I love to do. And
Yep.
if it is, where would you want your children to be? If you're at work
Exactly.
for 9 hours And you're thinking, is my kid just sitting in someone's living room watching TV all day?
Yep.
No, I can't. I couldn't do that to people's kids. And then,
Well,
and
and
then
you know,
the way to
sorry.
win your community is to make sure you have the things that you see a center have. You gotta see who your competition is.
And you know what? It's business 101. It's about customer service, even with
Yeah,
the kids. You know what I'm saying? And just like you said, your kids, the kid already is upset they gotta leave their mama for 8 hours, already
right.
traumatized by that. So
Yes.
then have them sit in front of like a TV and a bowl of Cheerios. You know what I mean? Like how
You can't
traumatic
do
for a
that.
kid, right? You know?
Yeah. Not only that, but we become counselors for the parents
I believe it.
because some of our parents don't have parents. Some of our parents are single mothers and they don't know how they're going to make it through. So we find ourselves being counselors to them, which make them closer to us because now we're not just looking at you as our client and just a check. We care about your mental health, your well-being. And that's why your children like it here. Because if I'm
Exactly.
treating you like this, what you think I'm doing with your kids?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, no, when them babies come in, first thing we do is hug them, greet them with
Uh-huh.
a smile. Hi, good morning. That who wants to be greeted? Hey, what's up, y'all? Go on, sit down.
Right.
I
That
wouldn't
part.
want to be. I wouldn't want to be. Like,
Exactly.
I learned everything that I had to go through in my life, including dealing with the music industry, made me the person that I am. Because the way I was treated in the music industry, I would never want nobody to be treated like that. That's why I treat those babies with respect, the
No,
same way
that's
I do their parents. And it goes for any job I've ever had. There's been power struck managers. There's been people of power that use it to their advantage, and they hurt people along the way. And I promised myself, God, if you ever put me in an environment where I had to deal with people, let me bring the best out of them, not the stress out of them.
mm. Come on
And
now, that's good.
I'm not doing that to people. And I'm definitely not doing that to nobody's kids. I have
Right.
kids now, honestly, when I started 17 years ago, of course, some of them have graduated high school and they even come back and tell me, can I come work for you? Because I remember what
Oh,
you did with us. I know it's better now. They follow I have a whole Instagram for my daycare. They follow my daycare like, oh man, you didn't have that when we were there. I'm like, I wasn't as rich as I was, baby, back then. But they're like,
yes.
man, I want to come back to daycare now. You got a whole playground now. I'm like, yeah, I do. Because you evolve.
Yep.
In any career you have, you evolve. Like, even if I went back to, like, I go to the studio, I am working on my EP, my Christian EP. I'm not doing it for dollars, and I'm definitely not doing it for fame. I'm doing it for God because maybe one song that I do will help somebody find God.
Exactly.
That's why I
And
do music now.
that's what I was gonna say too. And if you're doing the right thing, which you are, God's
Yep.
gonna bless you too and make He gonna make your cup runneth over. Okay. So
Exactly. And then,
right,
and when it does this time, I'm gonna know that's the right music I should have been singing all
right,
along. Because it's
exactly.
gonna happen because I'm gonna put my music out. And there are so many outlets now that more people will be exposed to it because we didn't have this before. We didn't have TikTok.
Right.
We had MySpace. Like,
Right. I know.
girl, we didn't have none of this. So it's so much easier to get your song out there, get your craft out there, whatever you do. It's easy now.
So tell me about you said about a boutique, and I don't know nothing about the boutique. Tell me about
Yeah,
the
let me tell you
boutique.
about that. Let me tell you about that. So, in the music industry, I was a college student, broke college student at that. So, in Manhattan, because I worked in Manhattan, there was a craft store. There's a wholesale district and a garment district in New York City. And I wanted to look the part like I had money and I really did it. So I got off into Swarovski crystals and I just
Yes,
started
love them.
bedazzling everything. So
Okay.
when I would go to industry events, people would be like, "Where'd you buy that?" I'd be like, "Oh, I made this." They'd be like, "Girl, make me that. Girl, do this for me. Bling out my cell phone." Because I mean, when I tell you I came with it, I had the cell phone, I had the blinged out jackets, the blinged out shirts, I had the blinged out Nike checks before they became popular. I was doing all
Yeah.
that, and celebrities wanted Nike checks done. I did a pair for Chris, and I did Latoya Luckett's sidekick. Remember when the sidekicks were out? I
Yes.
did her sidekick when I went to Houston once. I just ran up to her boutique like, let me do her phone, and they were like, okay, what you gonna do? I'm like, I'm gonna bling it, and I blinged it out. Her mom was like, I want you to set up in my boutique. And I'm like, I don't live here. She was like, you could bling, you could be adding this to the boutique and bling out cell phones. And I'm like, no, but I don't live in Houston no more. I'm just visiting my mom. And that would have been a great opportunity. But it literally spiraled down because I just wanted to look the part, but then celebrities started buying my stuff.
Right.
The Jagged Edge video shoot. They on their last album they went to Puerto Rico, and their manager had me bling out 25 shirts to give out to the girls that were there. So Sony cut me a nice check for that. I'm
Oh,
just like,
wow.
listen, I just wanted to fit in, and then my fit
Right.
in turned into a business, and I'm still doing it to this day, and I still work with celebrities till this day.
Wow.
You know,
So
custom.
the boutique is just you blinging out stuff? Is that what it is then?
It's just me blinging out things.
Shut up, girl. That's good
I just
though.
dazzle stuff. Like, I don't know, that's my thing.
That's
And
what's
people
up.
like it. And I do robes now, slippers, hats. We have a hat. We do hats. Like, we do all the t-shirts, everything. So
Right.
yeah, that's how Ice Castle came to life.
That's awesome. Well, and I think it's so amazing that you've evolved. And like you said, I think that God put you in those positions so that you can learn, grow, and then share your testimony with
Yeah.
others, and then they can learn and grow themselves as well.
Yeah, because when you're younger, and this is just for any young person, don't get discouraged if it doesn't happen when it's supposed to happen, when you think it's supposed to happen. People get so, oh, I have to have this by 24, or I have to have this by 30, or I have to do this before you. That's a lie. You don't have to have any of that because some of the greats didn't even make it. Tina Turner was 40 something. And you know what I'm saying? And then you have other people like, I don't know if you just look at anybody great. Some people's story they didn't start till 40, 50.
Right.
Don't put a time limit on what God says is for you because
Exactly.
sometimes it's the journey that gets you to where you need to be. And
Amen.
don't take that journey for granted. It was a learning experience. That's it.
Well, and I think too, now we're in such a time of instant gratification. Everybody wants everything quick,
Yeah.
fast, and it takes time for wisdom. You don't get wisdom at
Right.
14. You don't get wisdom at 21, baby. You know what
No.
I'm saying?
You
Like
don't.
you got to go through stuff.
You have to. I always tell people you have to grow through what you go through. And people be like, "Well, why do I have to go through it in the first place?" Because that's it's necessary.
It is
It's
growth.
necessary. And if you don't see it that way, then you're gonna be a like a mouse on a spinning wheel, just going nowhere fast and
Yep.
just spinning and spinning. And I listen, I'm the type of person I learn, I'm out. If it ain't for me, I'm gone. I don't
Right.
you
Okay.
can't tell me twice who you are. Show me once. I'm gonna believe you.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna be I can't do it.
Yep.
I can't do
Well,
it.
9 times out of 10, if they show you, that's who they gonna be, and they ain't gonna change. I mean, some people do change. I ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
9 times out of 10,
but you're gonna
if
have
you
to go through
showed
God
me
to me the next time. Because if
exactly,
I
okay,
have to fool with you again, I won't.
I
You
know that's
know,
right.
you gonna have to
Okay,
go through God to get to me, and that's what people don't understand. It has nothing to do with me not forgiving you. God says forgive, but He doesn't say reconnect.
come on
You tell
now,
me
you
who
better
you
tell
are.
them.
I'm gonna believe you the first time, and that's just
Yep,
how it's gonna be.
yep,
That's
I
how
know.
it's gonna be.
And on a final note, so I heard you say, 'cause you know about I love the Lord, okay? You said that you and your husband are trying to grow y'all's ministry. Tell me what that means.
Well, he's ordained now to marry, and he's slowly pulling me into do ministry too. I believe everybody has a timing for that. For that, I wouldn't say I'm a prophet. I wouldn't say I'm a pastor. I'm not. I don't want a title right now because I'm still learning as I go. He's more seasoned than me, so we just I follow under him. You know what I'm saying? Like I really follow under what his leadership is to me, and then if there is a young lady that needs some kind of counseling or guidance, I am that because I am now a life coach, a Christian life coach. So
Mhm.
if a young lady comes to me, I have to let them know if you don't want to hear it God's way, then don't come to me
Mm,
because I'm learning how to be able to understand that what I say, that person's blood now becomes on my hands. So I have to be careful. So I want to take my time with that. But my husband, like he ministers to people all the time, and I'm
okay.
just following behind him and trying to make him proud and trying to make God proud. But I had to start with me first. I had
Amen.
I had to
Amen.
be together first.
I might have to come and talk to you because that's kind of where I'm at, and I'm kind of on my journey. Like I said, I'm out here on this island, Lord, by
Yeah.
myself, and I'm going through, just a spiritual walk, a spiritual journey, but I'm doing it alone, and I know that's not, I'm reading
Hmm.
tons of books, and I ain't found a church, ain't found a pastor, and I'm kind of like you, like I don't want to have a name, but I know I'm prophetic. I've been prophetic. You know what I mean? I didn't know what it
Yeah.
meant back then, but I
Yeah.
know now.
Yeah.
But I'm also scared to say that, like, is that my ego, or is that God really saying, "No, this is what you are. Say what you," you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I understand that part of wanting to take your time with it because yeah, if you prophesy over somebody and it's wrong, and all prophets do make mistakes. It's gonna happen. But I
Hmm.
understand, like, I'm not gonna jump out into this until I really am 100% ready. And that's
Yeah.
kind of the walk where I'm at right now too, where I'm like, let me just slow down and make sure it ain't my ego, and let me just slow, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like I'm not in no hurry, God. Take your time with me. Show me where I need to be and what I have to do. And then along the way, I'm gonna throw some jewels to people because
Yeah.
I do read and I do educate myself on what God standards for living this life is. But I don't want to seem like Miss Know It All and Miss
Right.
you because I have a relationship with God now. Like, no, it took years to get here.
Right.
It took a long time for me to even give up the world. And I'm not even talking like in the last 10 years. We're talking like in the last 6 years.
Right.
It takes time,
Yeah.
and people want to be, oh, I'm a prophetic this and I'm pastor that. No, I don't do that to me. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna tell you, hey, you keep doing that, you're gonna find out. Or
Right.
hey, you you keep on trying to be this and that, and you're gonna see. Like, I know because it happened to me. I try to
Yeah.
use my examples as a way for people to try to live a better life. And I always tell people, well, when I was doing this, it didn't work. When I did this, it's working. So
Right.
either you can follow what I do, but you have to do it on your own. It's a journey
Exactly.
that you have to do on your own.
That's This was so wonderful, Stephany. I
Yes.
am so happy because I learned so much. I'm like, yes, we didn't just gave them a little one-on-one of the music industry.
Yes. And
Good.
and I'm not knocking nobody that wants to get in it. If it's your calling, do it, but just do it smart, do it wise. Have a parent be your manager, have the right team. Just have the
Yes,
right
ma'am.
team. But God don't want you singing about He don't want you singing about all that nastiness. Trust me,
Right.
that ain't from him, honey.
That ain't from the Lord, honey.
That ain't from God, but you.
Thank you so much for being here with me. I so appreciate it. I've learned so much.
Yes.
And
And
we
now you
definitely have to
know
talk
more about
afterwards.
me.
Yes, girl. 'Cause I feel like I missed a whole, like, 20 years of your life or something.
I know. Because when I left, I left. I didn't keep in touch with people. I didn't tell anybody what I was going through because I just wanted to go through that journey alone without bragging, without telling people. Like, I literally was that girl and I didn't even have to tell people.
Look, okay. Well, I appreciate you. I know I heard you say that you ain't really shared your full testimony with anybody. So I'm so blessed for you to be able to come on my
Yeah.
platform and share it with me.
You're welcome.
Yes, honey. All right, y'all. We did it for an hour, y'all. Y'all know my little interviews usually be a half hour. That's the tea though. I am Shay, HPP Treasure Talk, where we are set apart and set aside. Y'all already know we going up. Thank you, Miss
Yeah.
Roberts, so much for being here with us.
You're
All right,
welcome.
y'all. Until next time, I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.
Bye.